Yes, we are live.
Sorry, I was locked out, so I.
Okay. Hello, sir. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can see your screen. Screen means in the sense I can see you, but not your.
Okay.
I can see your background.
Okay. Saurabh, sir, are you there?
Yep, Tona, shall we start?
Yes, sir. We can start, or we can wait. It's 34. We can start.
Yep, I think we shall start. I don't know how many participants are currently viewing on YouTube.
9 are watching, sir, now.
Okay, so shall we start? We should start.
Okay, my screen is visible on. I am only visible.
No,
You
your
are
screen, you're visible. You are all right. You're all right.
Sorry, the YouTube link that we received, I still can't view this particular program live out there. I'm assuming it's not started, but it's still not viewable on YouTube for us.
You are on Zoom, madam. You can.
Yes, it's visible. It will be lagging a bit.
No, the link doesn't go to any video. It just goes to Cyclone Webinar-ECSF.
No,
that's the only video.
No, madam. Just go to the live in the channel.
Okay.
That's a channel. Go to the live section. That's a channel.
Okay. All right. Got it.
You are on Zoom, madam. You can.
Sure. No, I would like to view it.
Now it's visible.
I can
it
see
will
it.
be lagging a bit.
No, the link doesn't go to any video. It just goes to.
Yeah, the link actually directs you to the channel and the channel has a live section. There, people can watch. So, Tana, shall we start?
Yes, sir. We can start.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just muting everyone.
All the participants are kindly requested to mute their microphone so that we can start. Tanay,
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
Yeah. Let's start the talk. Let's start the talk and introduction of the speaker.
Good evening to all of you, all the participants which are present over here, and also to our honorable speaker, Mr. Ratul Saab. He is Senior Business Consultant in Ernst & Young Private Limited. We are very grateful that he is here for this particular and interesting talk, which we will be enjoying. And I'm very glad to announce that he has over 18 years of experience in protected area management, wetland management, and climate change adaptation and sustainability development. He has worked with various agencies like World Bank, Discovery, WWF Network, Vodafone International, HSBC, and different. I will request all the participants, please, if they can mute their Sorry for the interruption. I'm introducing our speaker. He has more than 18 years of experience, as we all know, in different protected area management and different wetland management and climate change adaptation studies. He worked with different funding agencies like World Bank, Discovery, WWF Network, Flora Fauna International, HSBCs, and different other government agencies. He is one of the key players in WWF India's conservation and adaptation work for Pan-India Sundarban studies in India and Bangladesh, and also instrumental in conceptualizing the technology-based solution for forest-related issues such as human-wildlife conflict, plantation management system, and digital protected area management plan, and help build more than 20 partnerships while working with in the conservation sector. We are very glad that he is here and he will be sharing his experience and simplifying this wildlife conflict. This is a very interesting and a very complicated thing, we all know, and he is here to simplify this particular topic for us. So, and we are also thankful to all the coordinators and the president and the vice president and all the members of ECSF who supported this particular initiative with their heart, and for this reason we are over here. So it's all to Atul Shah. If you can share your presentation, we can start this particular webinar.
Thank you, Dr. Tanwa. Thank you. Is my screen visible?
Sir, you are on a whiteboard.
Yeah, I did, but
yes,
just
yes.
for a second.
Now you are visible.
No, just hold for a second. Just hold for a second. The screen is visible.
Screen is visible.
Hello. Yeah.
Yes,
Thank you.
screen is visible.
Thank you, Dr. Tanmay, and a very good evening and a very good morning to. I don't know whether there are participants from US or not. So, like somebody had said me that she will also join. Her name is Ms. Joan. She's from the conflict diplomacy of US State Department. She was with the US State earlier. And so, good evening, everybody. It's like thank you to the organizers and Dr. Saurabh Paul and Dr. Tanmay for the opportunity to connect with you all. So, first two slides that I will be I have here is basically like now the introduction was there, but it is directed to the students. So so my presentation is like that. I will be showing you the slides. At the end of the presentation, I will be happy to take your questions. And the first two slides I will be asking like for the students who are actually like they are pursuing or already pursued in classical science, and what are the next steps they might be taking, and what and where they can actually look for future opportunities. I'll be glad to answer those questions also. So first two slides I have made for them, just to show that now even you have done your classical zoology and then and the travel that as an incumbent that I did for last 18 years. So now I am here. Not only working in classical zoology, but entire gamut of ecosystem to minimize human-wildlife conflict in India. So I did my master's from Presidency College in the year 2003, yes, and then I did my MPhil in Natural Resource Management from Indian Institute of Forest Management, Bhopal, to actually put the theory into practice. And as said, like Tanmay said, 18 years of experience, yes, in a variety of landscapes in India and other tiger range countries in the world. I've worked with government, finance institutions, corporations, and civil society to create conservation constituencies. Before the presentation, I was also discussing with Dr. Tanmay that though you are an NGO, though you are a foundation, you cannot be over the government. So at the end of the day, the actual stakeholder who are governing the biodiversity or the wildlife needs to be like worked with. So I had also the honor of being a US State Department guest and an IVLP fellow. It's a prestigious climate and disaster risk reduction program. And in the next slide, that as I said, so I see like I've been both sides of the table. So like first, after passing out my master's, yes, as a regular student, I was also into doing my PhD, and I have not done my PhD till date. So I also got enrolled into PhD in entomology. I did entomology. I took entomology as my specialization in Presidency College. Got into doing some topics, but after 6 months left and thought that okay, like if the theory can be put in the practice, what should I need to do? Where do I need to work? So started working as a research scholar in Presidency College. Got into IFM, Indian Institute of Forest Management, Bhopal. Did my management. And where after you do all those studies and when you think of applying your science, whatever science that you are, and when you think of applying and when you do give a management angle, then you think one step ahead of the decision makers, of the bureaucrats, and then you get the first job I did with Jungle Lodges as a Forest Department divisional manager in Coorg Wildlife Sanctuary. Then with a financial corporation, ILFS. Now you have been hearing ILFS at talk of the town in different newspapers due to some issues. Then I joined Commonwealth Games while staying with ILFS doing the Green Games. Now my subjects were zoology and entomology, but again the gamut of working with different sectors, as given on the right hand side, made me to shift to Commonwealth Games, coordinating the Green Games. WWF India as a biodiversity coordinator, looking into the gamut of flora, fauna, and the entire ecosystem to see and with the community. Then as a landscape lead for Indo-Bangladesh, and then Ernst & Young, and where I have two portfolios. One, I look into the wildlife portfolio, Assam. So again, I'm with Ernst & Young. We are actually supporting the Assam Forest Department in the accelerated project. It is one of the highest like funded project in the accelerated projects in India. There are multiple accelerated projects in India by World Bank, JICA, like Japan, GIZ, AFD. So one of this project is that from the French. It is like a 550 crore project. I will be showing you a slide on that. So how our accelerated project is actually conceptualized. So what are the other things that one needs to see while you are there to minimize conflict? I also into typical business development because I work with a company and pre-sales. I develop go-to-market solutions on agroforestry, watershed development, ecotourism, social forestry, and climate change adaptation and mitigation. So if you see all these, if you see the big picture, somewhere you also see that at the end of the day, when you are actually working into all these areas, apart from wildlife, you are actually supporting or you are trying to minimize the causal factors from where the conflict emerges, so that we move to a coexistence-based approach. Coming to the fourth slide, I see that we have 18 participants. I have a small request. If just give me a moment, I have done something on Mentimeter. I will just share. Just give me a moment. I just need this copy link. Just give me a moment. I'm sharing a link. I will also request you, the participants, to log into this site. I have shared the link on the chat. I have shared the link on the chat to just have this 2 questions answered so that we are on the same page. So which these are the 2 questions that I have presented on the screen. Which thematic area would you focus on if you had to minimize conflict? 3 per participant, so 1 participant can actually give 3 thematic areas. And if you face any problem, just let me know. There's also a password. If they tell you to type the password, I will be also sending you that. Is it accessible? If I've shared the link on the chat.
I will ask all the participants to go into the link as Sir said.
Yeah, if they can, it will be. So the code is 2578. If they require the password, I'll also give the password if they require the password too. We have 1 participant. Thank you for that. So it gives me an impression, like we have 4 participants, it gives me an impression that I've done my homework well. And in the next, the slides that I would show, and I think these thematic areas would be focused. Thank you for that. We have 4 participants. We have the second question also. For the time being, I am moving to the second question. What do you expect from the presentation? And I will request the practitioners, the students mainly, and who have passed also their masters, if they can just type the answers on the link. And one more answer I will take, and I think we should move with the presentation. Thank you, and I think the most of the slides that I have today will answer most of the points, and actually, as it was a coastal area, so I have some of the slides are geared towards that. But again, I will be happy to answer some of the questions if that those are not addressed inside the slides. Thank you. Let me take the liberty to actually move to the presentation. Thank you. Thank you very much. I will keep this with me, and I will share with you Dr. Tanmay and Dr. Paul. Okay, if you require.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Is the screen visible?
Just a small correction. This is Dr. Tanoy. Dr.
Yes,
Tanoy Mukherjee is the host today. To Mr. Shaha, it's Tanoy. It's Tanoy Mukherjee. That's Tanoy Mukherjee.
Okay. Okay.
it's okay.
I apologize for that.
Most of
So
the time,
I said I think yeah. Sure. No
with
issue.
Tanmay, with Tanmay, it's natural.
No, I apologize for that.
Oh no, sir. It's
So, before starting the conflict handling intentions and all, so this is a slide that we were taught, and in every meeting or presentation, I do show this. Sorry, I do show this. Like you bring together a group of people to work on a project or in a workplace, and in any project designing or any meetings, and then there is bound to have this conflict at some point. And because everybody has a different goal, need, attitude, or outlook, which doesn't always agree with someone else. So you have been seeing this, and I know that you have been experiencing these things when you actually speak with the government or in civil society or a community. What is a key skill of any project or a team manager, is to have this conflict resolution skill. Whether it is in a workplace or any designing projects or any negotiating with any bureaucrats or autocrats or any decision makers. For most project or team managers, this is possibly the strategy that they would use. And what they would use, if you see these slides, and any management consultant or any person or anybody who is into conflict minimizing projects or situation will actually be taking the collaborating box, which is a high concern for others and high assertiveness, because you need to have a collaborative behavior. So a collaborative person is what? Is a cooperative and assertive at the same time, allowing the member of that group, and I'm saying group in any setting, to contribute, and first to contribute and then resolving the issues by establishing a shared resolution that all can support. Coming to the next slide, if I yes, this is our national ambition. So, India stands on the cusp of the major change that we have been seeing. If you see this slide, if you go through there, it is a transformation that would lead into the unprecedented economic growth paired with radical improvements in the nation's Human Development Index. Over the past 2 decades, India's GDP, I think not two decades, 2.5 decades, GDP has risen by more than $1 trillion, in the process of bringing millions of citizens into a new cohort that we call the emerging middle class. Anything less than this, that is $10 trillion, would not secure India's future. Is that what a report? So this was given by PricewaterhouseCoopers report, and it was in 2014 in the winning leap. The nation needs to create about 10 to 12 million jobs every year in the coming decades to provide quality of life for its growing population. When I say growing population, I also say because a 9% GDP growth rate with the per capita income rising from US $1,500 to US $7,000 per year will boost the quality of life for more than 1.25 billion citizens. So what it will entail? You see these thematic areas. This would be the largest national effort of any democracy has ever attempted. And if you see all these thematic areas, they have to rise. From 2014, there is a projection given to 2034. If you see these thematic areas and the way it will be unleashed, because all this will be unleashed to have solutions, there has to be a conflict scenario in all the settings that we have in India. And reaching this goal will call, to minimize that and to reach this goal, we have to have a concerted effort from business entrepreneurs, investors, civil societies, government leaders, academicians, keeping in mind that the forest resources that we have. Coming to this, because as this was a coastal year, I just have a slide where we see the blue economy is one of the 10 core dimensions for India's growth. And when you see India's blue economy, what has it been understood? It is understood as a subset of the national economy, comprising an entire ocean resource system and human-made economic infrastructure in marine, maritime, onshore coastal zones. What does it entail? This aids the production of goods and services that have a clear linkage with economic growth, environmental sustainability, and national security. The point is that human actions have significant impact on both the current use of estuarine ecosystem services and trends. The first, and if you see the third component that I'm saying, that see, the first is the key priority areas of the Indian blue economy drought policy framework, which gives you an ecosystem to unleash the potential to harness the resources. But in that the third picture that you see, those are the vulnerability. Those are the vulnerability that we have from the different threats that we have. I'm not going into the threats because I think the experts that we have here are well aware of what is happening in the system. But again, what is happening that we all know. But the issue is that so what I would point here, and this I've been listening for last not 18 years, but 14 years. That this is the problem, and this is why the conflict is happening. But if you see that, if you see it very closely, and the coordinators, including Dr. Tanoy and Dr. Paul, would believe that, see, that there is a general lack of empirical data on both the current use of estuarine ecosystem services and trends. And when you use it as special and temporal sources, we don't have a unified data framework to collect data or process or analyze it. we have multiple researchers, scientists going on in coastal areas. And when I say coastal areas, if I take, because I've been working most time in Sundarbans, I will say Sundarbans. We know that, we all are aware. So many scientists, so many researchers are going in India and Bangladesh. But it is very sad to say, in either of the World Atlas of Mangroves by Mike Spalding, 2005, 2010, 2000, I think after 2010, we had 2014 or 16. None of, in none of the versions, we had Indian Sundarban or Bangladesh Sundarban ecology threads. We had a small paragraph on Indian Sundarbans in one of the chapters in 2010, just a paragraph. And for Bangladesh, it was same as above. So you can understand the apathy that we have for the area, for the zone. As I said, a second important area would be the specific evaluation. When you because if you have to do something on the coastal area, the second important area that would be on the specific evaluation on the consequence of the ecosystem changes. Okay, if it is not there, what will be the changes in the economies, and as well as the adaptation or mitigation options. So how much it would take to actually do an adaptation or a mitigation options. And this area that I was saying is related to the first key area, and it necessitates an understanding of the dynamics of human use as well as the drivers of those dynamics. If you do a mitigation, you have to understand the adaptation. In the next slide, I will also speak on how both are should not be seen in silos: adaptation options and mitigation options when you design projects on conflict. It entails, as I said, so the third important area that would be develop a multidisciplinary research programs that include knowledge of both ecological and social systems. Here, the researchers that are going in the coastal area, you would be seeing that. So, we have, if you are doing ecology, I have seldom seen any research which are actually taking all the thematic areas and giving. Yes, there might be, but it is just kept in the shelf as a PhD thesis, or never it is there for the decision makers. Yes, there are opportunities for that I will be speaking in some of the slides. The example that I would be giving, that you can create a multidisciplinary dashboard to assess the health of the marine ecosystems and development of joint ecological economic assessments of marine resource systems based on the empirical data. So I will be showing you a go-to-market solution in the next slides. That what is to be done is fine, that we all know how it is to be done. I will be showing that. As I said that, I am giving you a rural landscape scenario, and we have been hearing of this theme, ecosystem-based adaptation or climate change mitigation. So I'm giving an example of a rural landscape scenario. When I design projects for any organization, whether I'm in EY now or I was in WWF, I don't see them as two distinct entities. I see them only one. Yeah, if you see this, there is a clear interdependence between adaptation and mitigation actions, because they are both influenced by common factors such as the availability and new entry of technologies, as well as society's capacity and readiness for change. First they have to change. The success of these mitigation measures in communities by livelihood based on land resources is dependent how this community, they need to adapt in a prevailing condition. If you do the mitigation options as afforestation, reforestation, sustainable forest management, are very vulnerable to community livelihood conditions. You do a project, but we need to understand the threat perception, vulnerability perception, because people who are driven by poverty may illegally exploit forest, affecting your carbon sinks, and thus mitigation efforts are gone. So, the interconnectedness of this process, decisions, and interventions calls into a question of our traditional approaches to problems. We need to go beyond that approaches in terms of when we think of doing options for land use, or adaptation options for land use, or mitigation options for land use. As a result, we need to be taking holistic approaches that consider community livelihood. You also need to see the food security, natural resource management, biophysical policy, and institutional aspects when you are designing a good, effective mitigation and adaptation projects. As I said earlier, in India, there's already an investment of externally aided projects by, as I said, France, JICA, GIZ, Germany, World Bank, KfW, and you know, and all are under dealt by the MFCC, Ministry of Environment and Climate Change, under the Wildlife Division. And you know, if you see this is a sample of a project, and any externally aided project, and you see we have 3 thematic areas. And if you see, the first thematic areas are on the community engagement, and you won't believe a certain, like, about 40% of the entire fund is into community engagement, where, or your ecosystem, yes, ecosystem is there, but the community comes first. So it's like the broad objective of this forestry, as I was said, that increase forest cover, mostly all a forest cover. They improve the biodiversity conservation, whether it is marine or terrestrial, rehabilitate degraded forest areas, undertake soil and moisture conservation measures, launch measures of capacity building of forest officials and other stakeholders, because you know they need to be, their capacity needs to build. Because also you also have to believe and understand and know that forest department, as at the India level, they are running at 30 to 40% staff. 60% are vacant. More than 60% are vacant. So understanding the causal factors, you need to understand the causal factors, and also like to work on those aspects, so that at the end of the day, you can minimize the causal factors of human-wildlife conflict. When I stopped at the community engagement, you know, community engagement is like you do EAP, like those days are gone. Chapati diagram and Venn diagram. You need to have income and lively opportunities and an entrepreneurship level. You can't stop at just you give livelihood augmentation. And I won't believe I have also done. I've also done, but you know, everybody has, like, everybody, you need to understand, you need to learn. It took me about 5 years. It took me 5 years to actually step up from just giving livelihood augmentation to make them an entrepreneur. The initiative that we did in Sundarbans, the Bonful initiative, you know, you won't believe, last year in Amazon, their business was 1 crore. After burnout, after giving the salary, the net profit was 1 crore. And it started with just the traditional honey collectors placing boxes inside the forest, having honey sold in different locations. Now they're at Amazon. It takes 2 to 3 days just for them to send a honey bottle in Dibrugarh, just 3 days through Amazon. So that kind of initiative you need to design to sustain any livelihood initiative. Coming to the 9th slide, these are all slides that you see always. But again, when in EY, Ernst & Young or any Big Four, they actually, when they diagnose coastal setting. So this is one of the work that I've been doing now. When I see challenges, I don't see challenges as an opportunity. I don't see challenges as challenges. I see them as opportunities, because you know, when you think those opportunities, your solutions will emanate out of that. So if you see this, we have 4 thematic areas, 4 challenges that I've mentioned here: climate, economic sustainability, marketing, post-harvest management. If you see that, if you see all those pointers, if you can think that if I said production is the challenges, then my solution would be, what is the science to increase the production? Okay, what are the financial incentives or the certification that I need to do that? Fish diversity, whether I have so like all those challenges that I've mentioned are itself one of the solutions that, so your challenges cannot be entirely negative, but those will give you an opportunity to do that. But there's ecosystem, economic sustainability, you see the way it has all been written, so that it gives you an option to design your project, whether it's post-harvest management or there is marketing. So I will be focusing on some of the solutions that I already said earlier. So like the two solutions that we have already done means we are doing, we are planning, and it has been published. So it is like all that I am showing you are published literature, so that it is not because anything that I show you also needs a clearance if it is a solution. So those are published, so no issue. So first solution that I was saying, that market-based integrated platform fisheries is one-stop solution where you can have actually scientific monitoring and of the predator sensitive habitat and species, and also it gives you one single window for the department, for the decision makers to decide on the usage, on the governance. So for that we need to have it. So let me show you one. So, for Sundarban, if you think for Sundarbans, Sundarban is a microcosm for examining global dilemmas of development, ecology, and competing values. And when an ecological connected space extends a border, and then we have seen a lack of coordination and information exchange can result into inconsistent and even resource management regimes, and that has happened. So so this is one of the solution that I was saying, that you need to understand the causal relationship. So we have given forest cover, dynamics, biodiversity, ecosystem ecology, ecosystem services. That kind of a solution. And I think most of the researchers that are present in this talk will find some space that they've been doing in some of the pillars, some of the boxes. That yes. So our point was that okay, that has to be in a single window. Like people have been doing, that window has to be done to actually have the decision makers understand and decide on its or decide on their own. So like the environmental attributes in the estuarine, the species communities. So that is something that without you understand the estuarine species communities or the correlations or those. Yes, again, that I also give an example for the decision makers. So once one of my tiger biologists came to me, and I'm not a tiger biologist, but I do have papers on tigers. Some of the what my researchers came to me and said, "Sir, I have run program Mark, and based on the AIC value, this is the best fit model, model HT." So if you say this figures or terminology to the decision makers, it don't make sense. It don't make sense. You have to put your feet on their shoes to understand. Okay, because they are at the end of the day decision makers. You have to tell them. So I said to my so what I do with this MHT, for me, an AIC value means nothing. I know the AIC value so you need to tell me the data set of the tigers. They do say what. In what time is a heterogeneity or time or behavior that if I need to devise any solution, the model says that. Model is my validation that my data set looks that my tiger behavior is depending on this. So my interventions will be aligned to that. Just keeping the, okay, these values, this terminology won't suffice. Third one that, sorry. Yeah. Third thing that I was saying, that private investment is very crucial to achieve the SDG, especially given the persistent investment gap observed in developing countries, which has been now exacerbated due to the COVID-19 situation. You have been seeing at the coastal fisheries. If you just see the first thing, business as usual, is from the source it is harvested and there is a consumer. There is about, I think, six steps. And if I speak on Sundarbans, it's a very gray market. There are about 250 landing centers in the forest range, and the western part of Indian Sundarbans, there are plenty, more than 240, what I can. But western part of Sundarbans is somewhere it is regulated by the marine department, but the eastern side, which is at the forest range areas, there's a very gray market, and you will be astonished to know, like every landing centers. Per month, there are 400 kg of fish are actually harvested from the estuaries. Now, this gray market cannot run for ending, and this won't actually suffice the community need. It has to be a consumer-centric, efficient, regenerative system, food system. You have to drive by restructured supply chain. There has to be the supply chains. So that kind of an integrated value chain network has to be done for the estuarine fishery sector, where we have AI tools into that. So that is something that we are working on already, and it would look one slide, but at the end of the day, this solution are envisaged to impact about 24,000 families living in the 46 forest ring village. When I say 24,000 families, it is about 1,000 fish collectors. The third thing that I will also stay on the community incentive, as I said, that we need to consider the rural entrepreneurs solution as a holistic inclusion. You just cannot stop as just giving alternative livelihood. You have to have a farm-based business so that whenever the project ends, it can run from there. So there are examples of farmers collective. So this slide is like a amalgamation of many such interventions that has been done across India, where the climate lens, the gender is actually incorporated in all the steps. So this is an example of a business entity for a micro production arrangement, so that it develops an economic zone. It can be done for an agri-horti, goat rearers, fish producer, poultry collectors. And now when you have this kind of a solution, then you can access all the different schemes that we have in center. There are multiple schemes that one cooperative or the agro-producer company can access. And you can also have the farmer service centers to avail and access advanced knowledge and information in that. Coming to the next, I think the last slide. Yes, the last slide I was just focusing on after you all do everything, applied ecology lies, because I know there are many ecologists here in this talk. Applied ecology lies at the intersection of the human societies and natural systems. And stakeholders are constantly challenged when it comes to using knowledge to influence the management system. I know if you're a stakeholder and you have to have an informed analysis decision, it is because you develop a statewide knowledge platform. Suppose if you think of a state, it will constitute the experiences and key insight of the stakeholders. Stakeholders, when I meant to say, across all levels, into institutional, technical, and participatory aspects of collective NRM interventions and their effects. So that kind of integration of one single window is what I was saying earlier in earlier slides. This knowledge framework has this knowledge development, sharing and transfer, harmonization, organization and storage, and knowledge application. When you have this kind of a cyclic process, it will enhance the development of our stakeholders towards implementation towards your set goals. This framework, like what I feel, and I think you might, that the barriers will be related to environmental data, networks, capacity building, policy. So this framework can actually eliminate those barriers. With this, I conclude. Thank you. I will be happy to take questions.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for this amazing presentation. The house is now open for any question and further discussion. Anyone have a question can raise their hand. Hello, am I audible? Hello, sir.
Yes.
The forum is now open for discussion and for any further question. from the students or any of the faculties? Sir, I have a particular question that I feel throughout your presentation.
Please.
So, if I'm glad to ask that for particular application, I also worked in a particular domain where my major goal is to transform energy or get the technology that we need, and through a channel so that it can be applied in a real field. In the real field, if we have any kind of application or any management solution or like that. For example, building different corridor models or implementing it on the ground. So what we faced as one of the major challenges that to communicate or to the higher officials, for example, the government panels or the government agencies. So I feel there is a gap. So previously I thought that the gap is between the managers and the government. Now, after your presentation, what I feel that, for example, consultants and the people like, for example, you who are working in this particular domain for the management domain of wildlife for a long period of time. So you are a bit more closer to the government for advisory on the policy. So now I think we have a bridge so that, for example, we can approach people like you. So if we have come up with some kind of solution so that it can be executed in the next level. What can you comment on this particular topic?
Yeah, sure. You reminded me of something. Once when I was in Sundarban, I don't think some of my ex-colleagues are here. Like when I got promoted from being a coordinator to a landscape lead, one of the comments came to me that I am Amito Departmental Jamai. So I've been also named that. And so again, not taking that into forward. The first point is, if you see the way, like my not recommendation, but advice would be that, whenever you conceptualize a solution or you understand the problem and then you conceptualize a solution, even though you might be one step ahead to your decision maker or your government practitioner or anybody, take them on board. Devise your solution collaboratively rather than you prescribe.
Yes, sir. We are.
Rather than you telling, so it should not be a prescription. So the gap is that for them it is a prescription. It cannot be a prescription. Yeah, many a times it might not work, but the point is that in the last 18 years, like many of my papers, many of my I've been doing with them. Whether it is a first state-of-art report on Sundarban's biodiversity, it was with the earlier field directors. My recent two of my papers on SDG and all conflict was with the earlier HOF of West Bengal. So like, if you are into building solutions or communications, have something develop sitting with them rather than you develop going to them and then tell them.
Okay. I got the particular point, but what I particularly feel that this is very necessary because, for example, a consultant who is working on multiple domains and he's maybe working on different other topics and different ecosystems and different biogeography, different regions, maybe for him a local level scenario or a local based solutions, because as we shift from landscape to landscape, maybe a paracetamol for every disease will not be a proper solution.
Absolutely.
So the researcher who spent his, for example, 20-30 years for a region-based solution or for a systematic ecological functioning, he will know better the understanding of the ecosystem. Absolutely. And maybe he is developing some solutions, but maybe the policymakers are listening to the peoples who are giving the paracetamol. So I don't know whether that is happening or not. For example, the sustainable solution or community engagement, this kind of topic I have heard from WWF or any other news or other consultancy agencies. So I'm just
No,
asking.
WWF or news are not consultancy agencies.
No,
they are development
they are
organizations.
NGOs.
Consultancies are not what I am doing. Yeah, consultancy.
For example,
what I am
IORA
doing.
or other organizations are also there. So
okay. Yes.
So
see, that's the reason. See, that's the reason I think you have invited me. The point that I wanted to say that, you need somebody that, as you said, like to understand the local level settings. That is the reason. If you see my last slide, it was on the knowledge framework. So see, the knowledge that you have is your expertise. I understand. I do not know the nitty-gritty of your solution, but I know that this solution can be applicable at your place. That kind of awareness that should be there with people like us. For us, to have that, you need to have a kind of a one-stop solution. Every day you can't be sending like, okay, suppose if I have to do something in Sundarban or any coastal area, I need to go to some place.
Yes.
First thing that I would go to the department, because government pays these consultants. So that has to be hosted somewhere. So how do you do that from the very beginning? And I think the area that you are working, the Sundarban region, now they are very positive officers. Some of them are very positive, will be happy to collaborate with you.
Definitely. I actually also work in North Bengal areas. My specific field of work is in North Bengal areas, where I work for that NLD and the corridor, stepping stone corridor project. But yes, from the Sundarban perspective, I'm working with the organization in the Sundarban area. So yes, it's great to talk with you, because I now understand what is the gap and how things are. And as you said, I realized after my PhD that I need to keep the forest official on board. So for this particular project that I'm working right now, I've kept the PCCF on board. I make him one of the co-PIs so that it can be easily implied in the field. So it's very good that
even if the hub is not there, even if the hub is there, you need to institutionalize your solution. See, your solution may not be like 100% foolproof or implementable 100%. But if you make the institutionalization 10%, if it is on the field, your purpose is solved. If the HOF is also not there, the next HOF would be there.
Yes.
Next HOF would be there.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Someone asked a question. Just wait. Saurav sir, are you there? Hello? Am I audible, sir? To you?
Yeah, you're audible.
Everyone is audible? Just wait for 1 minute, sir. Hello, Saurav sir. Can you hear me?
Hello, hello, Tanay. Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Yeah. Okay. I said that Tanzim asked a question. Tanzim. Yeah. He raised his hand.
Yes. Actually, all the windows are open. I'm not sure. Tanzim is his mic is open. Tanzim's mic is open. Tanzim, can you hear us? You can ask your question.
question is, like, I have gone through some research articles where the humans here, they don't want to share the landscape with the wildlife. There is no protected area or share animal boundaries. They do not want to share the landscape. So, like, what can be done, and like how to make conservation plans in those particular areas?
I did not get you. I did not get you, madam. If you can just be a little bit louder.
Yes, sir.
I just heard conservation plan.
Yes. Can you hear me now, sir?
Your voice is breaking, madam.
Can you hear me now, sir?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. Please.
So, like, I have gone through few research papers where certain people who share the animal boundaries, I mean, where they share the wildlife boundaries, they say they don't want to share the area with the animals present over there. So,
Yes.
and we have seen a lot of cases where there is like human wildlife conflict, and they don't want to share the boundaries. So, like, what sort of conservation plans are to be made to understand, to make the local people understand, like, it's like a, equal, they have to share the area equally with animals.
See, conservation plan, that as a researcher, I understand. Correct me if I'm wrong, if I have understood your question. So basically, you actually seeked a data set from a researcher who has published, or from a forest officer who about the wildlife special data sets, and they did not
Yes.
give you. And now you are asking that how do you make plans if those data sets are not shared, right?
Yes, sir. Like, when the nearby local people, they don't want to share the boundaries with the animals.
Yeah, absolutely. See, I've also faced these issues in the past, and that's like, so I think I've been fortunate enough that the trust between you and the data holder. Now we know that data is for everybody. At the end of the day, it is the money of the of us that has gone into that. But again, there are issues that, like, that trust. If that data of the animal boundaries or animal what I will say, the polygons of its what do I say? It is foraging the foraging polygon, or the polygon where it stands, like where it's gilt. So that kind of a data set, if it's out, it might be an issue used by different different agencies to actually take out those species. So that is one thing that they always do fear. I don't know about the researchers, because the department, I can vouch for the department, that is the fear that they have. But if you can build a trust with them, if see you cannot be sitting. I will give you a very answer that you are from. Suppose you are from Western India, trying to get a data from Eastern India. You cannot. You have to have if you have to build that trust, you have to work with them for a certain number of years, have their trust to you, and then they will give it to you. So as I said, that it took me 6-7 years to have the trust. And I think the coordinators here will agree that the trust that I have with the West Bengal Forest Department is still there. So that makes it very easy. And also I said that whenever, suppose you are like you are also, I'll also advise you. So when you are trying to make a plans, that is fine. You are asking a data set, that is also fine, and they are not giving to you. Just take a step ahead, in the sense that take a step prior to asking that. What if I would have been in your position, I would have first asked to write about the current situation along with that practitioner. Be a co-author with them, giving the first author to that officer or a guide, write the publication for them, and 2 or 3 publication, and after that you see that trust is there.
That worked for me also.
Yeah, I see somebody from YouTube, the Rajdeep Sarkar. He is trying to ask some question. Dr. Mukherjee, if you could kindly take that question.
Okay. So, sir, in the YouTube?
YouTube, he is asking that, can I ask a question or something like that?
Yes, yes.
Till that time, I ask Mr. Shah a question. Is that all? Is that okay?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay. Okay. So first of all, Mr. Shah, that's I know you from a long time. It's true, and like I think, well, your WWF days and little bit of your presidency days. My first comment, to be honest, is that the way you present it, the way you have conceptualized the presentation. Like I consider myself as an academician, and most of the courses in the university or in the colleges are purely academic. Now, from your presentation, it was very apparent that it was an alternative talk. It was not something in the syllabus. It was coming through your experience. It was coming through entrepreneurship. It was coming through, I mean, like hands-on. It was coming only very little bit from the textbook. Now, since we are a foundation and a lot of our members are student members, they are aspiring student members. They may be undergraduate, maybe postgraduate, some may be thinking of a PhD, some may have some compulsion to do a job after a completion of their MSc, and they come from various backgrounds. They come from zoology, they come from botany, they come from geography, economics, and molecular science, and everything. Like as a foundation, we provide a very multidisciplinary platform where people can interact, people can critically think. That is our main motto. So a lot of them do complain. What they complain, I can tell you. Suppose somebody has a degree in zoology, or somebody has a degree in economics, or somebody has a degree in geography. They said, where should I practice? Like there are two alternative pathways in India for a career, which generally we follow. We follow either an academia. We try to be in academia as researcher, as faculty members, as teachers, and many other formats. And the other path is that we try for some bureaucratic or some sort of kind of, I would say, secretarial or government job. And the third avenue that is coming up is more of a alternative career, as you have carved it out uh, over the period of time. But what advice do you have for young people? Like I mean, like for you, being practicing it for like now 20 years almost, it's relatively easier to jump from one platform to another platform as you have built trust, as you have gained the momentum. But for suppose somebody has a good passion for wildlife, or good the understanding maybe of GIS, which is also required in wildlife, or maybe some regional planning, which is required in wildlife, or maybe some economic practices, which is also required in wildlife management. That is not directly wildlife degree, but it is required for a wildlife management. So for those sort of persons, how do you think a career could be an avenue in wildlife, and what sort of ideas or what sort of preparations they can take mentally to challenge themselves, as well as like where they should go and where they should start from? It's just a perspective from a student I'm talking about.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. You know, this niche specialty, this is a very good thing that everybody should have. You know, that the problem, when you say the problem that we are having as a consultants and the big four, EY is one of the big four, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, one of my colleague is also there in this, is in the participant, and you know, she is actually not listening to me. She's actually, I think, searching for CVs. If I'm not wrong, I can see that participant. The point is, you know, there are, like, we don't have CVs. We don't have good CVs. Having experience in those topics that you just shared. The point is, where is the gap? Where is the gap? I'm telling you, the gap is that, you know, because, you know, before 20 years back, yes, we did not have this kind of a perspective or a view that where to go. In fact, after 2005, the entire scenario got changed for a student like me and many others. The first thing that if you're an expert on ecology, absolutely, you need to make into, like, the theory have to put into practice. Where do you need to go? You need to have a management angle to it. See, if you're an expert in GIS, yes, if you think of the big picture of sustainability, the big picture of wildlife management, those that don't have wildlife. So the first thing that there are multiple courses, there are multiple universities now. The first thing that I went, and I will encourage everybody to be there, because I am from that is my alumni, Indian Institute of Forest Management. Because see, zoology, wildlife, and is something that, you know, you go to the management institute, then you see that our niche expertise is just a niche of the bigger picture. Then you start thinking, as a student, you start thinking there are Indian Institute of Forest Management. If you are into agriculture, there is manage. If you are into sustainability, and also, you know, I have students from Baligan Science College doing environmental science. She is now a sustainability officer in Dalmia. She is actually an Hindalco. She is working on restoration of mines. She was an environmental expert. She did her dissertation on conflict. After passing management, she did her MPhil in natural resource management. After that, she embarked on 1 or 2, 3 projects working with the community. Now she is there. So the thing is, there are TIS, there are like the TIS options, TIS Guwahati, TIS Tuljapur. So you have to have a management angle to it, so that, you know, your niche expertise gets a applied field. The moment you have an applied field, then you can easily embark on a consultancy arena. Then you can advise easily. Yes, first 2-3 years you need to work on to understand the entire ecosystem, and so that is something that as a student you need to look out for this institutes. Now you have Amity. It is wildlife management in Odisha. I think there's also, like, after you have that management angle, engage with a foundation, engage with some civil society. You can engage with a business consultant also, supporting them to understand them. The first 5 years will take your time, and then I think that incumbent, that student, can unleash his potential after 3, 4, 5 years in that in that domain. But at present, you know, in 13 EAP projects, we have also dealing with projects of EAP. We have central accounts in Delhi, and, you know, every day we have a team of 4 or 5 just looking out for CVs. We are not getting good CVs, and we need, you know, what are the basic qualification? Qualification is in what? Livestock, is in poultry, is in agriculture, is in only ecology. We don't have those CVs. So things are changing. The consultancy ecosystem is changing at a very vast pace, because, you know, because the investment in South Asia and Southeast Asia is growing. Europe is saturated. So my advice is you have done your niche expertise. Now step forward, have a management degree with you, and unleash your potential in the next 3-4 years. Yes, and if you want to do your PhD, then again, it is already there. I know West Bengal students for PhD, they stay there, they go outside. But at the end of the day, if you are stuck there, then gone. if you should not be just stuck there. Have a management degree, go ahead with your dreams.
So, like, if I sum up, like, is it necessary to have a management degree, or is it more of a street smartness, actually
See,
taking your degree to practice, taking your degree
see,
to
I said,
practice?
yes, taking your degree to practice. For that, you have to have that management, because that management will change the entire way of your thought in that niche. I just gave some examples. You can be a wildlife biology, but the way you interact with a forest official, and even you interact with a joint secretary or a secretary, that in those aspects, and you get only one chance, and in one chance you lose or you win. So that kind of a consistency, that kind of you hold your breath and you speak to the CM, you speak to the principal secretary. You have to have that kind of a qualification or kind of an understanding. I say qualification is an indicator, but that kind of a change that you need to have inside you.
Yeah, I can completely correlate that with my degree of environmental management, because you, like, what that degree unleashed is uh, the bare minimum. Like, I myself is an ecologist, but I can talk to a geographist or geographer. I can talk to you and wildlife. I may not understand a lot of the things, the technical terms that you may be using while giving a wildlife seminar, but to at least to be interactive, that's very essential. Yeah, thank you so much for at least telling our students and telling our viewers that's what it is. If somebody else has a question, I would pass on the ball. Yep.
Yeah,
You want to add
yeah, Dr. Paul, I just have a comment. If you will see that in my entire presentation, apart from 2 slides, the first slide, the opening slide, and the last slide, I just had 2 species. Apart in all the slides, I think the 13th, or it was 13th or 14th slide, I never uttered a species name. Now it was demystifying human-wildlife conflict. So as you said, rightly said, it was an alternative presentation. The idea is this: we get very focused to, okay, human wildlife conflict mein isko ye karna hai, wo karna hai. But at the end of the day, when you are speaking to a manager, the first thing that I think before the presentation, I was speaking to Dr. Tana, that like the first thing that you present to a department, the solutions, the first thing they say that ye to run of the mill solutions hai. You need to hold your breath. You are an expert. And you cannot you cannot say that you don't know anything, but then you need to understand what they're saying. So how do you do that? So that needs some kind of an applied experience. I want to add to it.
Great, sir. It's a great talking to you. I have one, not question, one query, which I recently faced, because as Dr. Paul and you are discussing, actually when I got my degree just 1 year back, and I'm deciding which path to choose, because you said the one is the consultancy and the management, and second is the academia. So the people who are very focused on the academia, they sometimes found it very difficult. And hello, someone has any question?
Please.
Okay, so for example, it's happened for me also, because I sometimes found very fear about that, whether I should choose that particular path, because I will be detached from the academia, so I will not be able to do my research, and which is one of the driving forces. So what you suggest based on that? This is one question. I think you realize that the dilemma that happens when academia generally, who loves his particular research, but also try to explore this particular domain. So I applied for the consultancies and got selected. But when I got the academic position, I just swapped into that academia. So we are kind of people who loves to do the applied sciences, but when there is a choice, the academia and this type of alternative career options, we, in majority of the cases, we choose the orthodox one. So how to change this particular objective? The second thing is that if I now I'm working as an inspired faculty in Indian Statistical Institute. So, so I'm a working professional now. But as you said that for a better application, for better communication, I should have a management degree. So the options that you have suggested, for example, in Institute of Forest Management, Bhopal, those are not distance mode, those are regular mode options. So can you suggest some of the options where a working professional can get that kind of degree with which has some ecological application, for example, climate change or restoration, ecological restoration like that? Can you suggest some of the domains? These are two-part questions. Sorry for the trouble.
No. I know the second answer, but the first question that you can just repeat, just the last part. The first question, how do you channelize? Yes. How do you channelize? See, the first thing that you need to ask.
Can I simplify? Can I simplify Tonoy's first part?
Yes.
I think we all have a guilt. It's. I have seen even in first world, like the majority of us, majority of the students, carry a sort of a guilt that why I'm like the first part of it. I think when the life settles down, it goes on. Like at least for the first 3-4 years of our life, when we are detaching ourselves slowly from academia, or I mean like the academic buildings rather, we have a guilt, and that's why we are not pursuing academia. Like we are so much educated, we are so much research oriented, we have so much knowledge, and then we kind of going to some sort of lesser than academia, because it has been portrayed for a long period of time that academia is the superior, and then from the academia things are getting into practice. So is this something which actually challenged you also in mind, which challenged Tonoy, if I understand Tonoy's question rightly?
Now, I asked this question because I recently gone through these particular phases where Saurabh sir knows when I also applied to IRA and other organizations and also got the inspired position, I just genuinely shifted. And also the mentors who are in most of the mentors are in the academia. So for example, this is also one of the major reasons, because most of the mentor a student have, they are only from the academia. So the diversity of mentors are not also there. So it also drives the student to go into that particular way, which found to be a, for example, easy option and less fearable option.
Yeah, I got you. I got your point. See, the first thing that yes, it was not a easy path for me also. Because when I left my PhD, as I said, from the faculty that in Presidency College, I'm not mentioning his name, but I have also heard that Guru Gadhar Pechone Chutle Kichu Hobe Na. When I left my PhD. So basically, first question that one needs to ask, that what do you want to do in life? What do you want to do? Suppose that now you say that I am a hardcore ecologist, or I have this niche expertise. So what do you do with that expertise? Would you just want to serve, like want to build your career in that? So see, building a career is there. Building a career along with a community was one of the driving factor. So like the reason behind, I have been in all sides of the table. I was a government officer at Karnataka, then with the financial company, civil society, now with consulting. The reason behind I'm hopping and I'm moving and I'm taking that experience is the reason behind, at the end of the day, the money that is pumped inside the society, it has to be well thought of. There has to be a proper M&E and there has to be some impact. So the first question that one needs to ask, that what is the next step? Okay, I did this. Suppose like I am also a degree holder in GIS remote sensing. What do I do with that? Do I build a career? Do I move on with that and have a degree in PhD and then teach, or do I be associated and fine? That's my life. That's I have done for myself. If I want to do with that degree and help others, and more into like the first thing that pushed me from the lab to outside. From when I went to outside, I said outside, I'm here to serve what? I got degree in wildlife management, fine, in NRM. My thesis was 100 on 100. And I've been a forest officer. My life is settled. I was in Karnataka. My life was settled. So like, again, the next point came, okay, so you can stop there also. Like, then you have to answer yourself, okay, do I need to take on my degree, my education level to help others, to serve the society? It will take a chord line. It will take some of your time. Again, one of the point that you said that, okay, I am into academia, I will lose my research interest. You won't believe, I have, if not, I think the first author, I work with Dr. Punoslok Bhaduri. And I do work on microbial ecology. Though I speak on all this stuff, you won't believe, in the arena that I am working, in a grassland management, we have incorporated the microbial ecology in a consultancy project. See, I have an understanding of the ecology. I am not doing the science. I take the science from a scientific institute and implement in the field through a channel. So your degree will help you to link, so building connection with outdoor spaces.
I would like to ask Professor Raut. Professor Raut is there. He is an ex-Bhatnagar awardee, a zoologist, very renowned zoologist in West Bengal. Professor Raut, what would be your take, considering the most of the associate professors or the professors right now practicing zoology in West Bengal are your students, and this presentation was like taking zoology to the different level at the practicing level. If you are around, if you have any suggestion, comments, or questions to the speaker and to the whole audience, I think that's a quite interesting sort of debate I would say alternative perspectives are going on. To Professor Raut. Professor Raut, are you around? Anybody from audience? Anybody from audience wants to have some sort of to add something in the debate or something in the discussions? Kindly move the discussion a bit. It's getting very exciting mode. Anybody from the audience? Anybody from YouTube, Sonoy?
Okay, sir. So people have asked various questions. Randeep Sarkar, am I audible?
Yeah. You are.
So Randeep Sarkar, I am pursuing MSc in wildlife science. I want to also do PhD in this stream, and also interested about this conflict issue. What will be your suggestion for your conservationists like us for future?
I will suggest, like, if you are doing your PhD, so your PhD, yes, PhD means that you deep dive into one of the subject, but for India, for Indian perspective or the South Asian perspective, I will say that your PhD should be a tool to serve a space. And that tool actually needs to be owned by the stakeholders for which your PhD is targeted. You can attach with anybody, in the sense you can attach with somebody from the space, because the first thing that one should, whenever anybody is doing a research and all, first you should be doing a stakeholder mapping. And then you should be targeting your tool or your research should be linked with whom? Who is my primary stakeholder who has the power to influence your tool? Who has the power to actually to adopt your tool or adopt your solution? So that is something that one needs to be thinking while doing any research, and then thinking that solution will be opted by somebody else. That stakeholder mapping is required, very much required.
Thank you, sir, for providing.
And for that, you can do multiple online trainings are there. There are MOOC multiple open online courses on networking, on collaborative management. You just see the wild team. There's a wild team from UK, Dr. Adam Barlow, who's a very famous tiger biologist in the Pan Sundarbans. He does all these courses. Attend those courses. I think some of them are free also. Then you can get a perspective of doing this, the program management or stakeholder networking stuff.
Okay, sir. Actually, you also answered the second question. A student asked about the training, internship, and volunteering opportunities. So you have discussed that particular point also.
And also for research opportunities or internships, like every Monday, like when I was doing my MPhil, my dissertation, like you need to have a tab which has all the list of all the civil societies, all the research institutions who are working on those thematic area, and they have these opportunities. The moment somebody is into an institute, you have to do something, have those link first and apply, meet them. You have faculty advisors in your, try to build that connection through your professors to them, so that you can work and you get adopted. Like there are small grant project in WWF. There are these business houses who are also taking people to work on their projects, because the moment you work on their projects, you get that organizational training, so that if you do your work well, you get imbibed.
Yes.
Yeah. Is Professor Raut around?
Yes, Professor Raut is joined. Professor Raut, can you hear us?
Okay. Is there other questions from the audience? Other questions, comments?
Professor Raut, I think he joined.
No, are there questions from other audience or anyone?
I think we covered a lot of questions, and students have run out of questions. So
I have one question.
Okay, please.
I just wanted to know that what impact would it have on the ecosystem and on the society?
What? I mean, I didn't get your point, Smriti. Like what impact? If we don't do what impact? If we don't do what?
Like if we don't conserve these
okay, you meant to say that suppose in a region, if you don't conserve, what will happen, right?
Yeah, what will happen? What is the
Absolutely.
impact on the ecosystem, on the livelihood generation, or maybe on the projects going on this?
It is okay. Thank you, Pia. So basically, it is another presentation that I believe. It is a different the thought process altogether. So in very short, essentially, why do we save species or why do we save a space? Basically, the benefits that is coming out, that emanating from them to the community, and we lose those benefits. And it is we means not us only. It is the entire gamut of species that lives in that space, and we are interconnected. If we do not conserve them, so at the end of the day, that space will deteriorate and diminish, and something other unwanted would take that space. A very simple way of answering. And to conserve, the first thing that we should be doing doing economic argument for those. Like if we don't do it, then this will happen, and you need to spend X amount of money to save that. So it's better you start your process now rather than spending 2x surcharge after you are if you are losing that space. That is something that simply I can tell you without spending another 1 hour.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you, Abdullah.
Thank you, sir.
So is that all, or we have more questions coming?
But I think, sir, this is all. We have questions from all over the houses, and I think sir has answered all the questions and which are raised by all the participants, including me also. So thank you, sir, for this presentations, and also for a wonderful discussion. It cleared all our doubts. I also have various doubts in my mind, so it also cleared a lot. And I'm also thankful to all the committee members who helped me to organize this particular workshop. And with this note, I'll thank you, sir, and Dr. Saurabh Paul, and all the board of directors and all the members of ECSF, and also the wildlife wing, for the support and continuous love for our ecosystem and wildlife. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. It's an honor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. So with this note, I'm just closing this particular presentation.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Shah. Thank you. Thank you so much for enlightening us for a very alternative sort of a seminar. We were looking for it because we are traditionally promoting, I would like to say we are traditionally hosting most of the academic seminar. But in future, you have shown us there is an alternative way. So we will keep that in mind. While you visit the West Bengal, please visit our center and interact with our faculty members and students. We would love to learn a lot from you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you, Abdullah.